Okay, good. It's on. It worked.
Lord Jesus. If y'all...
What's going on? Oh, it's not my show. You go ahead. You do that.
Anyway, not even... I'm just so grateful that we're actually on right now, so he can say anything, do anything, and I'll be perfectly fine with that, you know? So, welcome to the My Own Husband Live. This is our second Facebook Live. And we just want to welcome you in. Come on in. I know that I just posted that we'll be on at 7:30, and it's 7:17 right now. So we're a little early, but we just wanted to let you know that we are here. We have not forgotten you, and these technical issues were beyond our control.
Again.
But I need to see people coming in. I'm not seeing anyone. So let's see.
Go. Come on in.
Let's see what's happening. Hi everyone. Hi. Can you see us? Can you hear us? We just want to give you some time to come in. I see some persons coming in. As you come in, just let us know that you're here, you're hearing us, and yeah. And also let us know if everything is good on...
If you can hear us, if you can see us.
Because we're not sure what's going on right now.
Internet is a struggle. Let me just put it like that.
Yeah, something is not...
So yeah, I see one person just jumped in, but I'm not able to see who it is. So
yeah,
if you can just leave a comment, let us see what's going on. Let us know that you can see us. Let us know you can hear us. That we're not sticking.
Maybe we need to share this.
And then we're gonna do this for about what, 5 to 7 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into the topic.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna head on to our home.
To what?
Home.
Yeah. But.
All right. Check your phone. See if we're on. I'm not quite sure. You can't see anything. Okay,
so we live on St. Martin, and we're not too pleased with our internet provider. We call no names, but yeah, they know who they are, and this is the result of it. We're late, we're having technical issues, and we're still having technical issues. I think it's island wide, because since earlier today it's been messing up a bit. So if you can hear us, see us, please just send some hearts.
Send some hearts.
Hi,
and some
Julian.
Comments. Mr. Lake. All right, Lake is in.
Hi.
Hi, Annette. All right.
Can y'all hear us right? Can y'all see us? Can y'all just give us some feedback, and then we're gonna get started in about a minute.
All right, guys, come on. Let's come on in. I know it's early. I know it's early. It's island wide. Okay. Julian Lake said it is island wide.
Okay, well, if Julian says it, then
it's probably documented somewhere.
Okay.
It's the fact.
Is it sticking or anything, or is it good?
Okay. All right, good.
So somebody saying seeing and hearing you both. Okay, good. So can you share this?
So let's go.
Please share this, because I'm not yet satisfied with our numbers. I know we can do way better than that, but yeah, people don't know we're on probably, or I'm not sure.
They're having the same internet issues, so it's not well, okay, let's just say that maybe you having the same internet issues, so you can always catch the replay. That's fine. But we're about going. Let's see.
Can you share this from here? Or?
I don't think so. No, I can't.
Okay.
I can't share it. Not when I'm on live. All right, but the numbers are going up, so that's cool. So listen, come on in. Let's go. Come on in. You're fine. Come on in. Let's go. Get these numbers up. Yeah, we got about
all right,
a minute more, and then we're gonna get started.
Yeah, because we did say in like 5 minutes we'd start. So let's go. A few more seconds. So tonight we want to talk about submission.
Well, that's what you're talking about.
We've been talking about that the whole month, and I've been talking about it from my perspective as a wife, and also having some discussions with my husband based on some things that he has observed in our relationship, in terms of submission, and also how I have been as a wife, towards him, because it's not really that effective if I just talk about myself or boast about my progress or process, if I don't get feedback from him to hear what he has to say. So some persons have been reaching out to me. I must commend this community. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are doing great, even on the page and also in private. I have a lot of messages coming in my inbox. Wives to be, and can you believe this? Also husbands are, listen, they are endorsing this. Some of them are kind of scared to endorse it publicly because they're like, not quite sure how my wife will feel yet about about me going public talking about some things that they do desire for their wives to be as a submissive wife. So I posted yesterday about men knowing their wives. So some men do know that it's still a work in progress for their wives, so they try to go very easy with it and still encourage us as the My Own Husband community to continue doing what we're doing. So with that said, I am blessed, and I'm thankful for the support, but it's not about me. It's really about us, and about us learning together, growing together in this area as wives. So if you have been blessed by it, if you have been inspired by this, if you've been motivated to do more, be great, and to grow in this, then please do not keep this information to yourself. Share it with others, and also invite them to join the page. Okay, so we have Darren Wilson with us, which is my own husband, and he's wearing his shirt, the MOH.
Get your shirts, people. Come on.
Yes. Come
on.
And I told you that I really had to convince him to be on here. Not that he doesn't want to, but he just feels like, you know what, Charmaine, this is your thing. Do your thing. Y'all do your thing. And I'm like, no, you coming on with me, please. Okay. So he's like, okay. He gave up, and he's here. So I am really grateful for that, because I need people to see the man behind this whole thing with me. And I know, when we talk about submission, people are like, oh, the wife has to say yes to everything the man has to say, and bow to him and do everything he wants her to do, and all of that. And I'm not here to prove anything to anyone, but I really do want people to know and see that in submission, that as wives, that we have so much strengths, and having our husbands as our support, being still our covering, is also a great dynamic for every marriage, And of course, you're gonna have your own special dynamic going on in your marriage, but this is what works for us, where he allows me to be myself, he still covers me, and then when I feel like, you know what, it's kind of boring without you, I need to come in this time, then he knows, okay, my wife needs me to be next to her. So this is what we are doing tonight. I just didn't feel comfortable going on and on and on and on about submission and not have him join in at some point. So he's here tonight, and I'm so thankful for that. And I'm going to try to control him as well. Yes, I did say that word, control.
In terms of not talking a lot, that's what she means.
That's what I meant. But I am going to try to manage that, because he can talk a lot. I'll let him introduce himself. 1 minute.
What's going on, MOH family? My name is Darren Wilson. Can you stop tapping me, please? I want to be free.
I'm not tapping
Let me be great.
I'm not tapping. Listen, this could be all night. So
Okay. Shh. It's my turn. Okay, all jokes aside, I'm Darren Wilson. I am the own husband of the illustrious Charmaine Wilson. And I am an author, speaker, and that's pretty much it. Business owner, an entrepreneur, if you want to call it that, no problem. But yeah, I am here in support of this movement that she's created, simply because I actually believe in it. I actually believe that it is something that is necessary for wives, to have a safe space, to have a community that they can grow in and with. because nothing develops you faster than community. To know that there's persons that share similar struggles, that share similar ideas and philosophies about the concept of marriage, the idea of marriage, and about being a wife as well. So I think that this is awesome, and I'm glad to be a part of it and help her with it while she shines and leave me in the background.
No, that's not it. But what you said about yourself being the husband that, allows me to do what I have to do, and while you stay in the background, whatever that meant, because that's not true. How does that make you feel in terms of submission? Like, I know you just said what you said, but where submission is concerned, do you feel like, what, at some point I'm gonna have to pull her back in because she's becoming too famous? Because it's all okay now, but do you feel like, this is only good for a certain time, and after that I need my wife back, I need her to just stay under my wings for a little bit?
Okay, first of all, let me ask you this question. Are we doing this free flow? You have a list of questions for me to answer, or how is this working?
Well, I have a few questions, because I didn't tell him everything that we're going to talk about. So
I know I was supposed to be on this live tonight. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So to answer your question, I don't think that I would have an issue if this thing blows up. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that I understand, and I'm still learning, is that this is a team effort. It's about Team Wilson. It's not about Darren or Charmaine individually. It's about what Darren and Charmaine Wilson can accomplish collectively. So for me, if this thing goes global, if this thing blows up real big, I don't foresee myself getting jealous to the point where I'm like, okay, well, she's getting more popular than me. No, please become more popular than me. I don't have an issue with that, because that means we're growing together. And I think that's one of the issues that a lot of people have as far as submission is concerned, because they think that it's one over the other, or one is better than the other, when it's really both are supposed to be helping each other develop to their ultimate potential. And that's really, in essence, what this entire thing called marriage is about. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, and what's also very important is that even though my own husband was founded, or I'm the face of my own husband, the page, we don't have, let me put it this way, in our marriage there's no okay, now I'm about my own husband's business, the page business. So now, yeah, you don't get to say anything to me. I'm the head, I'm the chief, I'm the person in charge, for example. Even in that, you are very much the leader, you are very much my covering, you are very much the person that reads over my posts before I even post them. For those of you that didn't even know that, which I know you didn't, he's the one that I run everything by before I even put it out there. He's the one that gets all my thoughts, everything that I post, everything that I engage in, even my responses to your inbox messages and stuff like that. I run everything by him. And I don't run it by him because I don't have anything to say, or I need his input, or I don't have anything to say. I reach out to him because I really want his feedback on it. I really want to hear, babe, what do you think about my response? I was thinking about this. And even if he tells me, well, you know what, take this out, or add this, or add that, I will do it. Or if I don't agree with it, I will ask him, why would you want me to add that, or what's your trend of thought pertaining to that part that you want me to add to the conversation. And usually it broadens my perspective, because like I said, submission is not isolated. It's not, even though it's not isolated or just specific to the wife, even though we do highlight a lot about wives submitting to their own husbands, but it's also very important to understand that in marriage that the same Bible also speaks about us submitting to one another. So in situations like this, it is very important for us to realize that we haven't arrived as wives, even though we are the experts in certain areas, or even though we are the leaders in certain things, or pages or different things like that, that it's still very important to say, you know what, I need to check in on my husband. Checking in on him doesn't mean that I'm weak. It just simply means that even in my strengths, I still need somebody to go over it for me. I still need somebody to tell me, hey, you know what, that was a very good point you made. Affirm me. But he can't do that if I don't be open with him, if I'm not open with him, if I'm not transparent enough to even share the areas that I'm strong in. So that's something that I want to publicly make very clear. And that is why I also brought him on here, because I need us to also realize that any success is not just by myself. It is also because of him. And that's how it's going to be for a very, 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 very long time. Okay, so that's that. Now, I see again some questions in. Please let them come in, because we will answer your questions at the end. But first, we just want to get this out of the way, and then we'll come to your questions. Okay, so yes, Julian Lake, send in your questions, but please share this as well. Okay, so you gave a little bit on your perspective where submission is concerned in this marriage. But if you were to give a definition on submission, what would you say submission is? Somebody walks up to you and say, hey, Darren Wilson, I see your wife has this page. What does submission mean to you?
Okay. Well, submission in the context that it's meant to be is the I want to phrase this properly so that I don't, say something I'm not supposed to say, and then somebody takes and say, well, you're Darren. Say, no. Let me phrase it properly. Submission is the voluntary, or is giving up your will voluntarily. So it's not coerced, it's not forced, it's not you're not manipulated into doing it, but you're voluntarily giving up your will, your ideas, your suggestions, your ideas. You're voluntarily giving that up to follow, to be led by another. And it's not because of the person itself, but you're doing it because of the role or the function of the person. We see this context happen, on your job. Is a prime example of that. You are a person, you're a strong individual, you are brilliant in your own right, you're unique in your own right, but still when you get to your job, there's someone that you have to submit all of that skill to voluntarily. Because even though you sign a contract, you still have to, and voluntary means you make that decision every day to go to that job, organization, company, and submit whatever it is you have to offer to that company for that 8 or 12 hours or however long you work. So it's submission. That's the context, that's the idea of submission. Now, within the context of marriage though, as far as we are concerned, marriage is the union between a man and a woman. That's what we believe, because my own husband is founded on scripture, and that is something that we don't shy away from. So as far as that is concerned, I mean arms, but you're messing with my floor. You're gonna stop interrupt the flow with them but my arms. Okay, no problem. Alright, I'll work on that. What was I saying?
Go ahead. You were
I'm trying to remember. You interrupted
what
the flow.
We believe here.
Oh yes, what we believe. Okay. So the idea about marriage is the submissive part about it, is the fact that it says wives submit to your own husband. So the idea is that the wife, as strong as she is, as brilliant as she is, as energetic as she is, as fierce as she is, as resilient as she is, all of that package that she comes with, is voluntarily submitted to the role of the husband, not the man. And I think that's the issue that a lot of people have in marriage, because they are looking at the fact that they're submitting to a person, but not the role that the person has. I think if a lot of times, if we would switch our perspectives where that is concerned and look at it as the role of the person or the function, it would help us. I wouldn't say it would fix all the issues, but it would help us in viewing the context of marriage properly. And I say that because a lot of people usually get upset because you say, well, why is the man the head? Why is the man the leader? And it's not something. It's not anything we asked for. let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
We didn't ask for it. It is how it is by design. According to what we believe in Scripture, the male man was created first. And that has nothing to do with the fact that we're more important. That has nothing to do with the fact that we are more smart or intelligent. It really has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that it was first, and it has to do also with responsibility. Because at the end of the day, as submitted as you can be, the buck has to stop with somebody, or someone has to have the final decision, or when I say final decision, has to be responsible for the decision that was made. Okay, and at the end of the day, and you see, the thing is, submission is such a freeing thing for women, but for some reason, it's because it's been taught badly, and there have been horrible examples of it. It's been twisted and turned into something that is that makes you feel less than, that makes you feel like you're in servitude, or you're in subjugation, or you're subordinate. But it's not really. It's actually you get to say what you have to say, give your opinion, give your input, and at the end of the day, whoever is responsible has to take all of that and weigh it to make the proper decision, while you sit back and chill, for lack of a better phrase. So it's not that we are being we're not manipulating the wives into following us because we want to. It's actually something that is something that they should be volunteering, or they would like to volunteer to do. And truth be told, a lot of women really want to do that. They do. I mean, they really do want to do that, but because of the bad examples that they've seen, and some of them have been in and been under, it's just it's like a defense mechanism, you know. But submission, I think we'll get into that, because all my thoughts are starting to flow now. So I'm pretty sure I'll mention this somewhere later on.
So what caused you to make that statement about women wanting to be led? Where did you get that from?
When you really think about it, and when you look at it as well, well, let me say it like this: my personal experience with my wife, as brilliant as she is, as smart as she is, as intelligent as she is, there are certain things that she would say, you know what do you think about that? What do you think about this? What do you think we should do here? Because built into her is that thing that is looking for an answer, a direction, not because she can't do it herself, but because of that validation, that, okay, you know something, this is where I think we should go. This is what I think should happen. This is how I think we should handle this situation. What do you think? It is not because she doesn't know, but it's because she understands the role and the responsibility of being the head, the leader, the one that has the responsibility of the entire family and legacy and generation in literally the palm of his hand. So it's not that, and that is a lot of responsibility when you think about it. And I honestly can see why some men really shrug from the responsibility.
One of the ways, and I'm gonna be hard on us as wives as well, or even women generally speaking, one of the ways that I do notice, coming back to what you mentioned about us wanting to be led, is whenever they, especially, you know, my feminist friends out there, whenever they do speak about submission or against it, or about being led by a man or having a man over them or whatever, they always attack the faults that were observed, whether in their childhood, in a man, or in their fathers, or in men generally. It always comes from a place of lack. It always comes from a place of weakness where the man has failed. So that lets me to know that, okay, well, if all you can, and I won't say if all, but if most of your argument is based on where males have failed, then it lets me to know that there's a great chance that if men do not fail, then that makes them worthy of being your covering. So what it tells me is that there is a cry, there is a longing, there's a deep hurt, there is that desire, and even a strong desire that, listen, if I can only find one man or men that are worthy of my submission, then I can talk differently about it. I can begin to accept it. But because all I've seen, or the majority of what I've seen, was an abusive man or controlling man or whatever, then that stigma is on men, and therefore they are not willing to, women are not willing to submit to either, to none, to no man.
Right. Environment.
How would you address that? I mean, because it's legit. I don't want to make people feel like, listen, all your experiences in life, how you were raised and all that stuff, that you should just trade out the window and just, hey, I'm here to trust any man that walks into my life. No, we have to really acknowledge that, listen, hurts are real and people's experiences are real. How do you address that? What do you say to women out there that are faced with cases like that?
Okay, well, what I would say, first of all, is that we're not telling you to negate or forget, for lack of a better word, where you came from and your environment. Environments actually play a major role in how one views life, and submission is not exempt from that. Based on the examples that you saw, you've observed, you've experienced growing up, that is something that it either teaches you what you want and what you don't want. So when we look at submission from your experience, one of the things that you should begin asking yourself is there a better way? Is there, or are there persons who are modeling this thing correctly? Are there persons who are out there that are actually, because even though I have my reservations about submission, it can be that everybody has the same opinions that I have about it. It can be that everybody who has been through abusive situations as far as submission is concerned. So one of the things that you would have to begin doing is looking to change environments, looking to switch surroundings. There's a saying that says, if you hang around 5 millionaires, chances are you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 broke people, chances are you'll be the 6th. Your environment plays a powerful role in how you, and it also plays a role in how you change, in how your perspective changes about certain things. Because if you are consumed with the same amount of people, the same friends, the same people that are always talking bad about the idea, that shapes your mentality, so you never see anything different. And that would be one of my first suggestions, to look for persons, because they are there. Yes, we know there's a lot of persons out there that have experienced wrong as far as submission is concerned, but there are also a lot of people who are experiencing what is right. And one of the other things too I would want to mention is the fact that even though you've experienced submission negatively, you had a bad experience with it, if you are still considering getting married again, because some people just write it off, but if you are considering doing it again, one of the things you need to search for and look for and observe is whether or not this man is also submitted. You can't request of somebody that which you're not doing yourself. And when I say submitted to somebody, how well does he deal with submitting his will voluntarily to that of another? Someone.
Well, first to God.
Well, first to God, of course. But and not only to God, but to visible persons that you can see. Is he submitted to friends? Is he submitted to mentors? Because submission doesn't necessarily deal with subordinate relationships. It also has to do with peer relationships. That's why and come back to this whole chapter in Ephesians in scripture where it says, submit yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Submit yourselves one to another. So that means that husbands, you ought to submit to your wives as well. And what does that mean to submit to your wife? It means to submit to her counsel. It means submit to her insight. It means submit to her feelings, her intuition. It means to also submit your will to that, to take it into consideration to make your decision. Because one of the things that the wife is to you, Mr. Husband, is an extension of the Holy Spirit. That's what she is, because she is referred to as a helper, a helpmeet, and that's the same word that is used. Okay, I might have to time me on this. That is the same word that is used. Okay, that is the same word that is used in Scripture to define or in relation to or in context with the Holy Spirit. And what is he? He's a helper. He's an advocate. He's a comforter. He's someone that is there to help you make decisions. He doesn't make the decision for you. That's the difference. He doesn't force himself, but he gives his counsel. He gives his advice. He gives his insight. He gives his perspective. He helps. He assists. He's an advocate. He's all of that. So that same person, that word used to describe that person, is the same word used to describe your wife. So that's why it says submit yourself one to another in the fear of God, because when you submit to her and her counsel and her insight and her whatever it is she's packaged with, then you are putting yourself in a better position to make better decisions, greater decisions that will not only benefit yourself but will also benefit your family. So you see, submission is not about subordination.
Who's in charge?
It's not about who's in charge. It's about submission is getting under who has the best mission at the time. That's all it is. So if one of her ideas is it's better, because 8 times out of 10 it is, then I don't have a problem. And I have a perfect example, I'm not going to get into that, of how that same thing I talked about her decision being one of the best, and I just had to submit myself to what she had to say, and it worked out perfectly. So a lot of the times the bad experiences that we have with submission comes from a flawed and a skewed view of it, where we don't want to submit ourselves one to another in the fear of God, and that is a problem.
And sometimes as wives, those of us that have our struggles still with submission and our role as the submissive wife, if we look deep down inside, our issues with submission doesn't start with our husbands. It's easier to put it on him because of what society has caused us to believe that a man does or a husband does by trying to control us and suppress us. But really and truly, even when that man leaves or even without him, you've been struggling with submission all along. Submission to your boss, submission to your church leaders, to your parents, to all these different people. And then now he has to be the one to face that and has to be the one to say, well, hey, you have an issue here because I'm the one married to you. The others were not brave enough to tell you, or they didn't have the need to tell you because they don't have to answer to God on your behalf, or they don't have to cover you, but I'm your covering as a husband, and I'm here to tell you that, you know what, you're a great wife in these areas, but when it comes to this part needs work. This part needs work, and if you take the time to listen to what he's telling you, you'll realize, but wait, this ain't only with you. This is also with other persons that I have contact with. So there's something that I need to work on. And I'm telling you this because this has been my experience as well, where, certain things I've been struggling with, decision making, or sometimes I used to be very like spontaneous with my decisions, and forgetting that way, you gotta also run it by your husband, even though it's a good decision, because he needs to also know what's going on in the family. He needs to also give his input. He as well needs to show me another perspective of that decision. And even maybe in the workplace, that's how you are. Maybe, with your family, that's how you are, and different things like that. So it's not good enough for us to just put it on the husband and say, well, you are the problem. You try to suppress me. You're trying to hold me back. I have to do the will of the Lord. God has called me. All these different things. But throughout your life, that has also been seen, and he can't be blamed for that. So I agree with everything that you said. What I want to know though is, who is to say whether I'm submitting the right way or not? Jeez. Because sometimes, wives, y'all out there, right? Sometimes it feels like it's 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back. Like when an argument comes up and you just did not pass that test. Like, you promise yourself, I will not answer this way, I will not say this, I will not this, I will not, and you end up doing just that and even more. And the man is like, who is this woman? This woman I married? How and who determines that the wife is actually doing a good job, or being a good wife, a good submissive wife? Is that going to come from you? Because if it is, then we need to hear that. And wives, if you're not hearing that, come, show some hearts and let your husband see that you need to hear this.
I don't understand where you're getting these questions from, but anyway.
Don't worry, you're gonna answer them though.
Okay.
Tonight.
What was the question again? How do you know?
Yeah, who lets us know that we're doing a good job? Okay. Who commends us on that?
I think that is a let me preface it by saying this. Every relationship dynamic is different. So that question will have to be answered by the two of y'all. Y'all have to set your parameters. You have to set your because every relationship dynamic is different. So what would indicate that I'm being submitted and she's being submitted and we're being submitted to each other may be different because of our dynamic and what we have to do and what we call to do than it is for you. So I'm going to answer that question from that angle, that perspective of knowing what your relationship dynamic is and understanding how you all are going to see whether or not or how that submission is going to be expressed in your relationship. I can't answer that for you. You have to answer for yourself. So I can say from my perspective, one of the things that I look for to see whether or not, to gauge whether or not submission is actually taking place, is how well does my wife hear me. I'm not saying I don't need you to understand necessarily all the time, but how well do you hear what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we can give opinions, advice about something, and it could be real stupid, real dumb, but sometimes, and you will not excuse now, sometimes you say some real off the wall nonsense too. But anyway, but submission now for us looks like, okay, are we listening to each other? Are we hearing each other out? Are we actually taking the time to process what is being said? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, a good bit of the time, we don't listen to actually process. We listen on the surface to just respond. Mm-hmm. So some submission also takes into consideration how well you processing information. Submission also takes into consideration how easily it is for y'all to communicate about things that didn't go so well. How easily it is to communicate about situations that didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. Because that also gives you an indication as to whether or not y'all have a good communication dynamic as well. Mm-hmm. And how well you can submit your emotions because some decisions can become very emotional, but how you can submit your emotions, but put it to the side to begin to think logically about a situation, which leads me into another area that we look at for each other. It's not just me for her and her for me, but it's for each other. This is what we look at, because again, the scripture begins, Ephesians 5:21, I believe it is, submit yourselves one to the other in the fear of God. Submit yourself one to the other. So we're supposed to be submitting to each other first, because before we were married, before we were married, before we were husband and wife, we were friends. And that is where the submission has to be, the mutual submission takes place. I submit my whatever it is I had to her for her input, her counsel. She submit whatever she had to me. And then now, after we get married now, because the role becomes now the husband, the dynamic doesn't change. The truth of the matter doesn't change, which is we submit one to another. The dynamic may have changed now, where instead of you making a decision on your own, the responsibility, the weight of the decision now rests upon me. But it doesn't change the fact that we are still submitting our ideas, our counsel, our insight to each other.
Yeah.
All right. So those are some of the ways. I hope I answered the question of how we gauge whether or not, or how we gauge whether or not. There's a lot more.
Yeah. But
we don't have the time.
It always begins with, for us in our marriage, listening is a very, very important thing, because
you can't be submitted without listening.
And I used to have a way. Let me tell you straight up. I used to have a way where I would just say, "I hear you. We talking, huh?" And my comeback would be, "I hear you. Yeah, but I'm not listening to you. But I hear you." So, and that used to really hurt him a lot. And I didn't see why it bothering you. I said, "But I hear you."
Yeah, but are you listening to what I said? I used to say, "Yeah, I know you hear me, but did you hear me?"
I know what he wants, but because I wasn't really trying to listen to what he's trying to say, because I trying to get my point across, my comeback used to be, "I hear you." And we all know what "I hear you" means. It means, okay, hurry up, finish, so I can move on. Or I don't want to hear this, or I have my point to make. So, you spoke about listening, but even the things that we say,
right,
also speaks. And one of my next posts, I'm going to talk about the vocabulary or the language of submission.
You got to submit your words as well.
Yeah, those words can cut you up.
Yeah. And submission is very broad.
Yeah,
it's not just about do as I say.
Yeah,
it's you submitting an entire lifestyle.
Right. So it's not even just about being a yes woman, because I know a lot of women, yes, they tell their husband yes, and they be like, "I'm a submissive wife because I told my husband yes for everything he said."
Listen,
but then behind his back it's like, "I can't stand that man," and then you start slamming on dishes and stuff when he's gone and stuff like that. That is just as bad. Listen
to me, wives and husbands. Submission does not make your wife a doby. Submission does not make your wife docile.
I think we need a part 2 for this.
It doesn't make your wife a dummy. Submission is actually supposed to release her to be able to give you every possible scenario, every possible reason, every possible insight that she has within her, to ensure that the team comes out on top. So again, and the thing about submission is not supposed to restrict you. Anytime you get in a position where submission restricts you, that's not submission.
Yep.
That's not submission. Submission is not supposed to restrict you. Submission is supposed to release you. All right, and that is what it is in this kingdom. It's an upside down kingdom. You lead by serving. All right, you are released by submitting. So it's very backwards, but it works, because once the wife is submitted, she is now free within the environment to be herself.
Yeah.
She's free to give the insight. She's not afraid that, okay, maybe if I tell him this, he might not accept it. He might say, "Well, I'm the man." No.
Yeah.
Once you understand submission, fellas, once you understand it as well, you will not restrict your lady. You will not manipulate her into following you. You will not manipulate her into listening to you. You will not manipulate her into submitting to you. Because again, the context of submission is voluntary. It's voluntary. It's not forced, it's not coerced, it's voluntary. So, with that being said, if you are forcing your wife or imposing your will on hers, that is dysfunction. It's not submission. And that's largely in part because, again, the idea of submission as it's supposed to be taught is not taught. And we fail, we are put in bondage and we put in chains because we lack knowledge. And that's all it is. It's just been years of bad teaching. So whenever we hear submission now, and especially us of this kind of complexion, we read those scriptures in the Bible from a mentality of slavery. So when we see submission, we think servitude, we think subjugation, we think slavery. But that's not the idea of it. It's voluntary.
Yeah.
It's not subjugation. So now, for example, my wife is free to do my own husband and go as far as she wants with. Why? Because I'm not going to restrict her. It's not my place to restrict. It's my place to release and to be and to be, I was about to say the Dutch word, to be accountable for her. My responsibility is to ensure that this works good so that she is free and clear to do whatever it is she needs to do. That is what submission does. So submission doesn't make you less than. It doesn't make you it doesn't make you less important. It doesn't make you any of that. It's supposed to free you. And if it doesn't free you, then that's another discussion. But right now we're talking about submission, what it is, what it's supposed to be, and what it's supposed to look like.
I think we're gonna come back on because we've run out of time, but we need to talk about this again, especially the myths. We need to talk about the myths of submission, because you'll be amazed to hear the things that people actually think submission is and actually what it's not. So we need to talk about that. But just to close off this part, because we want to go into the questions that a lot of you are posting there, and they're very interesting questions. I'm not sure if we can cover all of them, but we'll definitely address all of those questions eventually. Are you not you, but men, how do men feel about yes women? And then that's the last one. Yes women. Yes women. I know there's some crazy men out there that just want a wife to be like, yes ma'am, yes sir all day, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about men that are okay mentally. What?
Yes, personally, I don't like yes people, because what you're doing, it's no benefit to me, because you need someone that will speak the hard truth to you. If you have someone that is agreeing with you all the time, that's not submission, because somewhere along the line that person was manipulated into being a yes person. Because again, submission is supposed to provide insight, wisdom, counsel, whether it is in your favor or not, because the counsel and the insight that is supposed to be provided is supposed to be in the best interest of the team. So I am not looking for a yes person on my team or in my wife. I'm looking for someone who can actually say, okay, you know something, I know this is what you want to do, but I personally don't think it's a good decision. I personally don't think you should do it this way. I think this would be a better angle of approach. And then now, because it gives you the opportunity to embrace sound counsel and sound wisdom. And again, like I said, submission releases persons to do that. There's a saying I think I heard from someone, I think his name is Andy Stanley. He said, leaders who don't listen will eventually be surrounded by people who have nothing to say. And as a husband, you don't ever want to be in that position from your wife, because again, her function, her description is the same as that of the Holy Spirit. She's supposed to be a physical extension or example of what the Holy Spirit does for persons. So if I am not listening to her, or if I'm just taking everything she says as a what's the word I'm looking for? As I know the word escapes me at the moment, but as if she's never. Yeah, sorry. If we just experienced some Wi-Fi falling out, but anyway, what was the last thing I said? See, that's how my thoughts flow. Yeah. Oh, she's supposed to be the extension of the Holy Spirit. Yeah. So if that is not happening, if everything I'm getting from her is okay, then that eventually that's going to become an issue, because it's like, okay, then what are we doing here? What are we doing?
It's under challenge.
There's nothing to challenge. There's nothing to give any insight, because again, I am depending on your insight, your wisdom, to make the best possible decision, and that is what that is. So being a yes person, listen, bosses hate it.
Yeah.
Your supervisor on the job that you're going to tomorrow morning, she hates a yes person. You may think that's what they want, but they don't want that, because they actually want someone who's going to challenge the decision, even though they may not act like it, but they do. Yeah. They want someone who is a critical thinker, who can think outside of the box or outside of the norm. And that is what you are submitting to the person.
Yep.
To the position, the role.
The leadership.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all right. That's some good stuff there.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But I guess
y'all gotta catch the replay, and please share this. Share this with your network. We need this out there. And please feel free to send us your messages via Facebook Messenger, whatever. Just let us know give us your feedback. Let us know what you thought. But we need to go to the questions and see what some of you have to say. Julian is saying, I'm still on the fence about this submissive thing. We need a partner, not a subordinate. This is me being a devil's advocate. Okay.
Yeah, and he's right. You're absolutely right. And that, I think we covered that about the whole subordinate part. It's not about that. It's not about that. Once Darren
is secure in his identity, there won't be an issue. That's also very important.
That's a big thing. You don't want to be submitted to a man who is not secure in himself.
He
doesn't know who he is. He doesn't understand purpose. Doesn't know what he's here for. Because that's a recipe for disaster. Because what are you? Anyway, I can't answer that right now.
Speaking about that, I do have some women, I'm not sure what their full intentions are, but some of you do message me. You are already married, but your husband is not everything you expect or wanted in a man. And then you're looking for advice that would kind of, encourage bashing the fact that he's not yet ready, he's not the man, or whatever it is. You're not going to get that from us. You're not going to get that from my own husband. We're not doing that. Because we were not there, and I'm gonna be as honest and open with you and truthful as possible. Every relationship is unique, and every relationship has some kind of roots that we need to discover in order for us to understand what's happening today. So we are not going to give you any instruction or advice, generally speaking, because let's say, for example, both of you were not sure of who you are before you got married, but you still decided on getting married. And I always tell people that whoever you choose to marry, you either have a choice to go all the way with this person, or both of you have to make the decision on what you want to do. But we will not remain married or encourage people to be married and then cutting each other down. No, we're not going to subscribe to that. So just be mindful. If you want to work on yourself, or to be the kind of wife that will endure, so that you can also help your husband help himself, if that sums it up, okay? But we would not encourage cutting each other down. We would not encourage those things, because you may have a lot of things that you're not yet pleased about him, but he also has about you. But the minute we start pointing fingers and but the man and the man that God gave to me, and this and that and that and that, we're not helping the situation. So right. There's a lot to also learn about submission, even when the man is not yet the ideal leader, because you face it every day with your boss. Your boss is not perfect, but yet you go to work every day. Yet you say yes, sir, and yet you serve and you make sure that you perform. So there's certain things that are exceptional, like abuse and those different things like that. But when it comes to your daily fight, your daily sacrifice, working hard on being the wife that you are, that God expects you to be, that is something that we would always encourage in the My Own Husband community. Okay.
And I think another thing to make mention of here is that we're not relationship therapists or relationship counselors. We're just two married people who are actually on the same journey, and we're learning. And what we're doing is we're sharing and being transparent as we go along, because you learn as you go. Right? You grow and you go. And that's the philosophy behind My Own Husband. With my wife, she's doing her thing, she's learning as she's going along, and whatever she learns, whatever lesson she has, she just decides to share it. But it doesn't make us relationship counselors, doesn't make her relationship therapists. It's not that. So if you come in looking for relationship advice, like professional advice, that's not us. But we'll be happy to refer you to somebody, because sometimes a lot of issues can only be dealt with through counseling and therapy. All right,
just like people had to refer us.
Right. Definitely.
We had some serious issues.
Right.
Okay, we also have to know each other's weaknesses and strengths. Tika says that. Julian says 100. You missed a question.
Oh, I did?
Oh, no, he's asking Julian.
He just asked Julian where he's at. Okay. Women are wired for submission, abuse, and misuse have been for that is something I think I mentioned as well, Utica. Let's see over here. How should a spouse submit to a person who functions dysfunctionally? The above was in relation to Darren's comment on submitting to the role rather than the person. Okay. But you see, a question like that, there's so many layers to it, because dysfunction is not something that happens today for tomorrow.
Right.
You see, dysfunction usually goes back to a person's early childhood, early teenage years, or something that happened early in the marriage that traumatized them to the point so much that they became dysfunctional. So, excuse me, answering that question right here and right now, I can't give a cookie cutter answer for that. There's a lot of dynamics that has to be known, history and things of that nature. So submitting to a person who functions dysfunctionally, we can't answer that. That's a question for a counselor or therapist. If you want, you can private message us and then we can refer you. I'm not saying it's for you, but if you speak on behalf of someone, private message us, and we can be happy to.
Because we don't know what dysfunction.
Yeah, because dysfunction means different things to different people.
Yeah.
So some
people tell me, "Oh, my husband he's so bad. What's so bad about it?" I don't know. He's just bad. He just changed. He's not the man he used to be.
Once you have to be able to define it. Once you can't define it, then that's where you begin defining the issue. What is it? He doesn't like to take out the trash. Oh, okay. Well, now we have something to work with. But if you just say, that's a question for.
Let me put this out there as well. When you are submitting to your husband, even in his weaknesses, even he's not yet perfect or not yet even close, your submission does not validate his weaknesses. It doesn't say to him, well, you know what, I like you just the way you are, so that's why I'm submitting to you.
Oh, that's a good point.
Your submission is, I am here as your wife, and as long as I'm your wife, I am going to fulfill my wifely duties. That's also a part of it, a part of your duties, which is to submit, which is to love, which is to care, which is to take care of the home. So my husband and I having a fallout tonight does not change the fact that I still have to cook. I still have to clean the house. That is what I do. That's who I am. Now, the problem that we have, listen, we still gonna deal with it. I'm still not happy about it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to burn up the food or, no.
She only said cook and clean because that's the first two words that came to her head at the moment. Not saying that is the role of the wife.
Right.
I know we're gonna have some.
Please don't pin me to the wall for it.
Yeah.
But
that's not what she's saying. It's just what came to mind at the time.
Okay.
Junior Lake asking for a shirt. For sure.
Yes,
If
Julian.
you want a shirt,
please PM me.
Yes. Is there ever a time that it's okay to not submit?
I think I answered that a little. Or...
I think you did, yeah. When you say it doesn't absolve you from your responsibility. Yeah.
It's our responsibility.
Ease up, okay, yeah. Miss some parts. I asked this because I think I'm based on the text of submitting one thing unfair, right? Okay, Utica got that point.
Valerie
Cummings. Is it possible for wife to submit or learn to submit again after disaster of a decision that was made and both bore consequences? Ooh. Is it possible for a wife? Let me just answer that. Everything is possible. Everything is possible.
Yeah.
All right. So, but again, relationship dynamics. It is possible for you to learn to submit again. It is possible to submit again. But it's going to be a process. It really is going to be a process. And that's the thing about submission. We're not telling you that it's going to be easy. It's a process. It's a daily process. Because again, because of how we are wired, we've been cultured in the environment of independence. So submission is about interdependence, and because we haven't been cultured in that, the first thing that happens when a disaster strikes is we tend to go into independent mode again. And because that's default, that's what we know. While interdependence or submission teaches us to be interdependent again. So that means now it's a process. You got to learn how to get back into the groove of doing this and understanding. And it's not just you, the wife, but the husband as well, because he may feel a way because of the decision that was made. And I'm speaking from experience. He feels a way because of a decision that was made that put the family in a position like that. So now he's feeling less than. He's feeling not adequate. He's feeling like, yo, I can't do nothing right to save my life. Right? So and that's where the mutual submission comes into play, because it's about the mutual submission helps the other person grow and develop to where they are supposed to be.
Right.
So yes, everything is possible.
Yep.
Even if the consequences were catastrophic, because we have a story like that.
As long as both of you are willing.
Yeah. As long as you're willing. As long as you're willing.
Said something here.
Definitely have to watch the replay.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Catch up on the replay, but share this as well.
Yep.
Sav says, love that. Thank you, Sav. And then we have Jonathan Raymond.
What can you do for your spouse to understand your initiative on being true self? Oh, I think I understand the question. What can you do for your spouse? What can you do to help your spouse understand why you want to be true to yourself no matter what? Okay. Being true to yourself begins with you recognizing and understanding, first of all, what you're being true to. And how does you being true to yourself affect your spouse? Because make no mistake about it, whatever you decide to do is going to affect your spouse. So if you're being true to yourself, you have to also take into consideration how being true to yourself is going to affect her or him, or whichever way it comes. Me being true to myself is going to affect her, and not only her, but my son, in ways that I may not even imagine, because what we're called to do is great. I'm not even going to lie to you. What we're called to do is great, for sure. That's beyond a shadow of a doubt. But being true to ourselves is going to affect our lives and our son's life in ways we haven't even fathomed yet. So we have to be real enough and take into consideration what that entails. So that is something you have to think about, and help them understand, and help coach them through the process, because people react better when they are made aware as opposed to when they are blindsided. If you're blindsided by something, of course you're going to react in a funny way. But if you are aware, listen, this is who I am, this is what I'm called to do, this is what we're called to be, you are better prepared for it. You're not going to be prepared for everything, but you're going to be prepared enough to be able to handle, okay, I knew this was coming. Eventually it would have showed up. So you're better prepared. You're better able to now mentally adjust yourself to see, okay, how is this going to happen? How is this going to work? You prepare mentally for it, and you make them aware of it as well, and it's going to help them. So if I hope that answers your question, Mr. Jonathan Raymond. And with that being said, let's see.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Listen, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my God, this was a mouthful.
But of course, we gotta.
We gotta come back. If you want us to come back on, Darren Wilson, are you coming back?
It depends.
Tell the people
if they want us back, let me know, because I know they like your face better than mine. So
whatever.
But if you want us back, listen, send up the hearts, send up the likes.
But you have to share this, and
share it.
Maybe next time we talk about the myths of
we can talk about the myths of submission for sure.
We can talk about some other things that the language of submission.
Oh yeah,
that's also very important.
Write those things down, boy.
Yes,
write them down.
It's on the.
Oh, it's on the line. Sorry. You see what I mean? It's hard to say she's more intelligent than I am.
He don't do this often, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
Love you all.
Send up the hearts. Listen. Hey. Merch alert. Get your shirts.
Yes.
You can get it in green, you can get it in black, you can get it in white.
That's right.
All
and
right.
We have some surprises coming up as well. So this is not all that we're gonna be doing with my own husband, okay? So yes, so look out for that. We have some things coming
she's gonna be doing
for Christmas. We have some things coming up for Christmas. Anyway,
the only thing I'm doing is coming on here and try not to talk a lot.
Yes, and take care of the expenses of my own husband.
Good.
Yes. You're doing a good job with that. So continue. Don't give up, okay? You're the head, right?
Yeah. I tell you, you see this one thing about the responsibility, bearing the responsibility.
Y'all don't love this. I just love being a submissive wife. Like, I just tell him all my plans and he just
I have to figure out a way to make it happen.
And I'm like, listen, God told me this, so I run it by you. Yep. So you figure it out with me.
Yep.
Take the lead. You're the man, right? Lead with the bell.
And that is why submission releases you, because it takes away some of the risk. It frees you to be able to now think clearly, to do what it is you're called to do, as opposed to worrying about how things are going to get done.
That's right. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I can't see.
I love you all. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for inviting your friends. And also, I need to announce 2 winners. On October 7th, I posted a picture and I asked the wives to let me know their wedding anniversaries, and that was amazing. We had so many comments that came in, and people are still you can drink water.
Just making sure.
People can
see, I was submitted. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Before you did that, anyway, so everybody sent in their wedding anniversary, which was so amazing, because I'm like, wow, for every month there's a wedding anniversary to celebrate in my own husband community. But what I was really looking for was twin anniversaries, which I didn't really tell y'all because I didn't really have to, because if I did, then y'all would have been in on the surprise or whatever I needed. But the 2 persons that had twin anniversaries, if you go back, you will see in the comments that was Malika Bell, Mistress Malika Bell, and also Mistress Giselle Carty. So y'all are the winners, and I have some beautiful packages for you. I'm gonna get you a nice gift card from Tizan, where you can get all your herbal remedies and treatments, soaps, and all that good stuff to make yourself all fresh and clean for your own husband. So look out for that. I will reach out to you via Facebook Messenger. You can reach out to me if you like. But yes, you 2 are the winners. So thank you all for participating. And for the other wives that did participate, you didn't get a prize, but trust me, we have your anniversaries down. We're gonna celebrate as much as possible. I can't promise every time, but as much as possible, we'll try our best to celebrate you as you stay married and work on yourselves, and also support your husbands, right? So that was it.
Let us know if this was helpful. Let us know if this was good, and let us know.
Please.
interaction. That's what we're looking for.
I'm saying please because I really want us to grow in this, and I really want your feedback, and I really want to hear the different things that we didn't touch on, so that we can touch on it the next time, so that we can grow together,
right?
Like one big happy family.
Okay, people.
Bye.
Love you. See y'all. Bye bye. Deuces.